What's going on, everybody? It's Dog the Gamer here, or Cody, bringing you guys Week 2 preview. Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns. And, man, after the disappointing Week 1, really hoping that the boys can bring their A game and come around and let's beat the Browns Week 2. First matchup of the year. If you guys are new to the channel and how I do my previews, I basically give a overview of offensive defense, more along just the Bengals, because this is more of a Bengals news channel. I'll make comments here and there about the Browns just because we're playing them and it would tie into whoever I'm talking about or whatever side of the ball I'm talking about. And I'll get my 3 key players on offense, 3 key players on defense, and then my prediction to the score and who will win. And that'll be it. But anyway, moving on. This offense, they have got to pick it up. I would say both offenses. I'll just make this comment out the bat. Both offenses had to pick it up because both offenses looked horrible Week 1 of this NFL seasons. With us playing the Chargers and the Browns playing the Ravens. Both great defenses, so you could have a little bit of an excuse here or there for both teams, but both teams just struggled immensely to put points on the board and move the ball down the field, and especially so with the Bengals with winning the field position battle, because the defense played so great, but I'll get to them later. This offense has got to start moving the ball down the field. It's got to start running the ball more, in my opinion. Give Mixon that amount of money. Let's make the game easier on Burrow. Yes, we drafted him so we wouldn't have to worry about making the game super easy for the quarterback, but he is still a rookie. And, as a rookie with still no preseason, he has 1 game under his belt. I still think Burrow played pretty well last week for a rookie with no experience, no preseason experience. So, this offense has got to just move the ball better. Offensive line, in general, has to block better. Bobby Hart, this is my obligatory weekly I hate Bobby Hart part. I'll probably stop mentioning it because you know how I feel. But Bobby Hart, please just put your hands on some people. It's pretty embarrassing how horrible Bobby Hart got beat in Week 1. And again, we're playing another great defensive line with the Browns, and you gotta watch out for Myles Garrett and Vernon and Sheldon Richardson. I think they have Richardson on their defensive line. Don't hold me to that because I don't know both rosters at the top of my head, up and down. I should know the Browns more because they are a divisional rival, but I don't. But the offensive line's got to do better. Got to make it easier for Burrow to get set and make some plays. Burrow can move outside the pocket and, extend plays, but there is no extending when you have a person in your face the moment you start dropping back. And that's basically what happened last week with Bobby Hart. He was literally getting beat as soon as the ball was snapped, and Burrow had just gotten back, from his drop back. He was getting sacked. And it was quite embarrassing to watch that offensive line last week. But I looked for this offense against the Browns defense to play a lot better, especially with Mixon. And I'll get to him because he's part of my key players. But I expect a big game out of Mixon, as Mixon usually has good games. Last year, he rushed for, let me pull this up because I'm actually going to have stats for this because it's key. He rushed for 146 yards and 162 last year, respectively in each game. I don't know let's do math off the top of my head, but it's like close to 200 yards. 300 yards. Oh my God, that's horrible. I am horrible at math. That is bad. He rushed for roughly 300 yards last year in their matchups. So I expect this rushing game to be on point, and I expect to see lots of play action from this offense, and hopefully Burrow is not getting sacked, 3 times and hit 6. The offensive line wasn't Philadelphia Eagles offensive line bad in Week 1, but I was still terrified for our quarterback, and I don't want an Andrew Luck situation here in Cincinnati. Moving on to the defense, not much I could really say about the defense. Like, I guess they could afford to make some better tackles, but they made plays when it mattered, and I look to hope that they do the same this week and hopefully start forcing some turnovers this week. And if William Jackson can clamp down like he did in week 1, this time probably, if I had to guess, he's going to be shadowing Odell. If he can just clamp down Odell and Darius Phillips can pick it up and maybe do some work against Jarvis Landry, we might see a continuation of last week, because our secondary was great and linebackers were much improved when it came to stopping the run and stopping the passing game, which is weird to see. I've seen linebackers make plays on balls, but again, they still, got beat at times, and the tackling definitely suffered closer into the second half when the Chargers were starting to run more, a lot more draw plays, and they were getting some big gains here and there. So I look to see the Bengals improve tackling and hopefully, keep the momentum from week 1 when it comes to their secondary, because William Jackson and Jesse Bates were just on fire last week. And PFF, please explain to me how William Jackson's score was so low when I am fairly certain he didn't allow a reception in the entire game. There's got to be something else tied to it, like maybe tackling or something, but I don't see how that would be weighted very high for a corner. But, and that's, again, this is why I don't think stats are super important, especially even advanced analytics, because they seem like they tell one story, and maybe it's still the right story, but from what I saw in that game, from the eye test, William Jackson looked great. He looked fantastic. So, and Bates' score definitely was right, because Bates looked great. He got called for that, personal foul. Yeah, unnecessary roughness. I was trying to think of the right words, but the unnecessary roughness against who caught the ball? Was it Keenan Allen or Mike Williams? It might not even been either of them, but he led with the shoulder, and it was a shoulder hit. Hopefully he will appeal and not be fined for that hit. But I look to see this Bengals defense improve and hopefully get some more than anything. Where I would like to see some improvements, and I probably should have mentioned this first, is this defensive line's got to start playing to this potential that us Bengals fans keep putting on them, because we keep talking like they're one of the best defensive lines in the league, and they routinely don't come away with a lot of sacks, and I'm starting to get frustrated by that. Carlos Dunlap needs to start getting into the backfield, and he looked pedestrian last week, and I expected him to have a good game, and I don't think he really did. Really, the only defensive lineman that I think, the two defensive linemen that looked great last week were DJ Reader and Sam Hubbard, and Hubbard's starting to look better and better. And now Hubbard wasn't in the backfield constantly, but he was great in terms of run defense. So, that's as much as I can really ask out of Hubbard. We're not expecting him to be an elite pass rusher. We are expecting Dunlap to be, and hopefully we'll have Geno Atkins this week to help out on that defensive line. But as I'm recording this on Wednesday morning, we still have no word whether he's going to play. He hasn't practiced in the 2 practices this week, so I'm confident in saying that he's not going to play. But I can be entirely wrong. If he plays, I expect a lot out of this defensive line, and especially, considering, we have Reader, we have Dunlap, Lawson, and Hubbard. I expect this defensive line to start getting sacks. A little bit of concern for the defense line is also that Mike Daniels is also injured and probably not going to be playing because he has not practiced this week. As a bit of concern, I believe Sam Hubbard has practiced, but he has been injured. But he's been limited, so I expect him to play, and no one said anything about him being super injured or anything. And I know I don't usually talk about special teams, but Bullock, if you could, the game's on the line. How about you make the kick? And, there's no word right now whether we're going to have a kicker. We're going to have Bullock kicking. I don't think he's really injured, but who knows? He could have been really injured, but it seems weird when you tell the media one leg's injured and you grabbed another on TV after that kick. Hey, it just seems like you're caught in a lie, and I would, unless our trainers are that bad that they found some weird injury, or they're just letting him play it up because you can't prove cramps or something, I would assume you would be able to, prove something like that. But hey, I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a physical trainer or any of that shit. But I believe if he doesn't play, we'll be. I believe we picked up the Browns' last kicker. I think it's Saber. I don't know. I don't know how to say his name. He's probably not good if the Browns let him go. No offense, Browns fans, but I don't think you guys have had any good kickers in a while, and we really haven't either. So, welcome to the shitty kicker game. And I should probably stop cussing, because I usually don't cuss in these videos, but thinking about Randy Bullock and Bobby Hart and players like them actually brings the worst out of me. So, excuse my language. It's not really the type of channel I'm going with. Not to say that I don't think people can't curse in their videos. It just doesn't fit who I am with my videos. But anyway, moving on to 3 key players on offense and defense. So we'll start with the offense. Key player number 1 should be pretty obvious after I was talking about him earlier a little bit, is Joe Mixon. I expect a big game out of Joe Mixon, and I think this offense will run through Joe Mixon. If he has a good game, I think there's a lot to expect out of him. He's shown us against the Browns the last couple years that he's fantastic against Browns, and we need to see that out of Joe, and help alleviate some of the problems that our rookie's going to be facing against another elite pass rush with the Browns. And I just need to see more out of him. Hopefully he doesn't fumble anymore. I still think it was a fluke. And of course, everyone talks about Joe Mixon never fumbling, and he goes and fumbles for the first time since his rookie year. I expect a great performance out of him. If I had to put a number on it, let's say 110 yards, and let's go 2 TDs. I think he's going to get 2 goal line touchdowns. So let's go 2 TDs. I would like to see him used more in the passing game. I thought, based on the first quarter, he gets a quick little dump off in the first quarter. I'm like, oh, are we going to actually start using him in the pass game? And I don't think he was used rarely at all in the pass game after that against the Chargers. I think mostly because we needed, apparently Giovanni Bernard's still a better blocker, because it seemed like he was always in, and we probably used him to block, help alleviate some of the problems that were caused by our offensive line. So I'd like to see Mixon, catch a couple more out of the backfield, get active in the passing game, really be worth that contract we gave him. But I expect a big game out of him. If I were to add some, receiving yards to it, I'd say 3 receptions for 30 yards. It's more or less, I'm expecting like 1 decent reception for a nice chunk of yards, and like 2 very small dump offs that probably get hit, immediately. But anyway, moving on to key player number 2. Man, this one's gonna be weird, because usually the key players are people I'm looking forward to having a good game and I expect to have a good game. But key player number 2 is Bobby Hart. Really weird to put him on this list for any reason, but I need some improvement, something from being god-awful to being usable, Bobby Hart. Please. Because we're also paying you money that I don't understand why this organization gave you. I need to see some improvement. Put some hands on some, on these pass rushers, At least if you're going to get beat, at least be a little bit in front of them for like half a second, or hold the guy. I don't even like asking for holding penalties, but I'd rather suffer tons of holding penalties from you than suffer Burrow getting hit, time after time after time again because you can't do your job. Anyway, what do I expect out of him? If I had to predict, and what I hope is no sacks, obviously, but I don't expect that out of him because I don't think he's talented enough to do that. I believe he's going to give up at least 1 sack, so I'm going to be internally optimistic. He's going to give up a sack, and hopefully That is it. But I'm not holding my breath. Key player number 3, keeping track with someone I want to see improve. I would say all 3 of these are people I want to see improve. John Ross, I need to see something out of you, buddy. You know, first round pick, pick 11. You've been injured, and then last week you just weren't really there. And, one of your key catches got, taken away because you seem to just not be able to pull in balls. It's really getting frustrating that John Ross is, either dropping balls or, in the case of Burrow's overthrow, I find it hard to believe that John Ross couldn't have tried to have laid out for that or accelerated even more. When you're the fastest guy in the league, I don't see Burrow overthrowing you. I really don't. So I'm a bit concerned that, again, Ross is just, phoning it in. I need to see more out of him. I expect a better game out of him, and especially if we are playing more play action heavy. I expect more of a week 1 from last year look from him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some deep passes down the field, because based on how I'm expecting this offense to work in week 2 against the Browns, I expect Mixon to open up, play action really, really heavy, and I expect, John Ross to burn someone deep on one of these plays. So I'm going to guess 3 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown. I'm expecting 1 really big pass and a couple short passes out of him. I'm expecting a play, something out of him this week. I really need to see something out of him. You draft someone at 11. He's constantly been injured, and last year it looked like he was starting to show something, but then he was injured again. Surprise, surprise. I need to start seeing something out of him again with a quarterback who he's had probably the most time to work with, besides Tyler Boyd, since Tyler Boyd didn't get injured in training camp. The only other player that's really worked with Burrow, more, I would say, is John Ross, because he worked with him while Burrow was preparing for the draft. So I need to see something out of him. You should have a better rapport with Burrow, and I just expect a lot more out of him. And I would say the Browns secondary is nowhere near the Chargers secondary, which apparently I was wrong, because I thought they were horrible, but they clamped down on a bunch of weapons that I thought we had, and they definitely played pretty well. I expect these weapons that we have in the wide receiver room to step up against the Browns secondary, which I don't think is anywhere near the Chargers secondary. I don't think they're horrible by any stretch of the mean. They're definitely good, but I think, again, this is the Browns hype train overactive, like it is every year the last couple years, where they go out and get some players, and everyone expects them to have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. I'm sorry, I just don't see that happening. They have to prove it, just like I think we need to start proving it. It's the same. It's a lot of the same issues. You can have all the hype you want, but until you start doing something about it, it doesn't mean anything. So moving on to defense, and 3 key players I have, I expect out of the defense. This one is a little bit trickier for me, because there's a lot of players I would like to keep track of, and one of them I don't even know if it's going to play, because if Geno Atkins was confirmed to be playing, he would be a key player, but he's not. So key player number 1, I think Carlos Dunlap has to be on this list again. He's got to put it together. He's got to start getting pressure in putting pressure on these quarterbacks, make it even easier on the defense. This defense played exceedingly well, in my opinion, for a defense that didn't really put much pressure on Tyrod Taylor. And it was also, I probably should have mentioned it earlier, it was a bit concerning how little pressure they really did put on Tyrod when he's missing so much on that offensive line. But that's neither here nor there. I need to see something out of him. I need to see a sack. I need to see pressure in the backfield. I need to see some batted passes. I need to see Dunlop, the guy that we gave a contract to, the guy that should have in my opinion, took the Bengals sack record, in the last game. I need to see that guy. If we don't have Atkins, I need to see, all-pro, I don't think he was ever an all-pro, but, Pro Bowl caliber Carlos Dunlap. I need to see him. I know he's getting older, but, from what I saw in the last half of last year, I thought that maybe he was starting to, get back into the game, and I thought maybe he'd take that momentum into the beginning of this year, and so far, I'm not seeing it. So, if I had to give predictions for Dunlap, I'd like to see a sack and a pass deflection. I think I made the exact same thing last week, but really, that's what I want to see out of Dunlap. I need to see him put some real pressure on the quarterback and get into the backfield. Key player number 2, I would have to say, let's say Darius Phillips, because he got bullied a lot. And again, I think this is going to sound a little bit like last week, but Darius Phillips, he played okay, but he did get bullied by Mike Williams last week, and I'd like to see him take a step back from that, or take a step forward, I should say, from that, and hopefully put a hand on the ball, and actually, I don't know, just not absolutely get bullied, on the field. Jarvis Landry and Odell are pretty decently sized, compared to him, which is just about, everyone's bigger than Darius Phillips. It's like 5'9", like 180 pounds, 190 at tops. As a small player, I just need to see more out of him. Hopefully he can put a hand on the ball. I'm not going to predict an interception, but yeah, I guess I am, because that's what I want out of them. What I want out of these players, really, in these key positions is, the predictions, but most of them are going to be wrong. And again, predicting defense is just way, way, way too hard, and these are just more what I want and less what I think. I think offense was a little bit easier because we do have some history when it comes to Mixon and others that I can at least lean back on. Defensively, Darius Phillips had limited snaps last year, but what I saw out of him last year was a guy who had great ball skills, and I expect to see him, come down with an interception this week, and probably again, like I predicted last week, at least last week he didn't get beat for a long touchdown. He got bullied, but he never got beat for a long touchdown, I don't believe. I do expect that this week. I think Odell's going to make him look silly, at least once, and he's probably going to give up a touchdown if he's guarding him. Key player number 3 to watch out for on defense, if I had to list another one, because again, this is really, really hard in my opinion. Let's go Jesse Bates, because he, according to PFF and based on the game he had last week, he was probably the best defender. I would say William Jackson was better, but Jesse Bates played phenomenal last week, and I want to see if he can stay at that level. I believe he was the highest graded safety, don't hold me to that, or as a defensive back. I don't know, one of the two, when it came to PFF scoring for week 1. And I just expect to see that momentum carry forward and see him make more plays on the ball, which it was nice to see him make some plays on the ball. No, didn't come out down with an interception week 1. I think it was who did the pass go to? There was one pass during the game week 1 that Jesse Bates definitely got his hands on, and he had a chance to make a play. I think he was a half step. If he was half step quicker, he would have had a great chance of actually coming down with an interception, but that's just my opinion. If I had to guess how I would predict this game with Bates, really, I don't even want to guess Bates' stats, because that's not really what I expect out of Bates, is to come down with INT. Well, I would like him to come down with INTs, because he's definitely starting to show a ball hawk mentality. I'd like to see that start translating into actual interceptions, and screw it. I'm gonna predict him getting an interception. I'm not a Mayfield hater, but he's the stats just show the guy has no regard from keeping the ball safe and not putting it in other teams' hands. I think he's thrown over 20 interceptions 2 years in a row. Don't hold me to that. and he threw one last night, maybe two. Not last night, but Sunday. Well, that's weird. Well, I just lost power or something for a second. Good thing I'm recording this on a laptop. But and I'll finish this. But anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, oh yeah, Baker. I think he threw 23 interceptions. It was like 20 something last year. Anyway, I expect him to throw multiple this week. I expect the Bengals to start causing turnovers. I expect Bates to come down with an interception and probably another big hit and another. What was the? Oh, I'm sorry. I've lost my train of thought because of this. Come down with another unnecessary roughness, penalty because we're the Bengals, and it seems like we always get called for those, even for shoulder hits. And I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to lay one into a Browns player and gets called for one, whether this one is actually something worth calling or not. But anyway, because of all this power going out stuff, and the fact I've already listed three players, yeah. The 6 total key players. I'm sorry, I am everywhere right now. I'm just going to move on to score and predicting the winner. I expect both offenses to actually play probably a lot better. Because the way I see this game going is I see the Bengals coming out firing early on and scoring quite a bit. And I see the Browns, also trying to keep pace. But I see ultimately Baker's probably going to cost his team again. And he's going to throw some key interceptions, and that's going to lead us to winning. But I don't think either defense is going to keep each other off the scoreboard in terms of touchdowns. So I'm going to predict a decently high-scoring game. I'm going to go with 24-27, and another 3-point. Let's say what's the word? Spread. I guess we'll go with spread. I think it's going to be a close game, ultimately, though. But I predict 24-27. I see, in my season predictions, I predicted a loss. But what I saw out of my team last week against what I thought was a great Chargers team in general, defense, especially in that 2-minute drill at the end of the game, I saw a spark of what could be. And ultimately, I guess I'm going to be a homer right now and hope my team wins. But, I'm going to predict 27-24, Bengals win. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Both teams are going to come out firing. But I think ultimately it's going to come down to the team that, has the least mistakes. And until Baker can prove it, he's been mistake-prone. And I think Burrow, for the most part, besides the key shovel pass interception, he proved he was pretty smart with the ball. He didn't really put it in harm's way, which was surprising. I expected actually him to have a lot more dangerous passes in that game. I predicted last week for him to only throw an interception, I believe. But I didn't even mention it, but I probably should have said last week, I expected a lot of passes that could be interceptions. I think he did take care of the ball quite well, and I expect him to continue that. And he'll probably throw another pick this week, if I had to guess. But I think the team that has the least amount of turnovers is going to win. And from what I've seen, the Browns, specifically Baker Mayfield, just can't take care of the ball. So anyway, I'm rambling right now because I'm still trying to figure out why my power is out, and I'm trying to do this in the dark. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Ultimately, comment. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think I'm a idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about? Which is entirely true. What's your predictions? What's your score predictions? How do you think this game is going to turn out tomorrow? And ultimately, if you like this content, subscribe. You'll get notified when I make videos, and you can come back and watch these horribly made videos that I make in the middle of the dark when the power goes out, and then can't think of anything else because I have my window open, and now I actually don't hear anything in the house. I just hear the crickets from outside, and it's kind of eerie. Calming, but eerie, which I don't think they can be the same. I think those are opposites. I don't think something can be eerie and calming at the same time, but I don't know. I find it both at the same time. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hoping for a Bengals win tomorrow. I hope to see you guys again later. Hoo day and God bless.